What's up, guys? MainManSWE here. Hoping you're all doing awesome as always. And me, I'm doing great, thank you. And as you are watching Tokyo Masters epic matches here, I'm gonna talk again about Joker. Amazing movie. I made a video on it like 2 weeks ago, called it a masterpiece. I still stand by that. It is the best movie I've seen in a long time, and I see it as sort of a miracle and a renaissance of cinema, because you probably know by now that like MCU and superhero movies have been dominating the cinema industry for, well, how long now? It goes back to pretty much Spider-Man 1 in like 2001. But it really took off with the first Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. released in 2008, I believe. That's where it really took off, and since then, you know, these days we have like, what, 3 to 5 MCU movies per year. It's really, it's the flavor of the day or the century. The decade, maybe. So when Joker arrived and just flipped that on its head, like, oh, not a comic relief heavy superhero adventure with characters that are not really characters, in my opinion, in colorful outfits, beating people up, you know, following the exact same formula every movie. Origin, and then villain reveals himself, who is just a cartoon villain, you know, has no depth, says, I'm gonna destroy the universe, and our hero fails at first and then finds a magic MacGuffin that makes them stronger, and in the end there's a 40-minute end fight where universe is at stake, and they beat the bad guy while saying some funny things sometimes, you know, comic relief moments. How many of those movies haven't you seen? And I gave up, and then comes Joker, where Todd Phillips, the director, and Joaquin Phoenix, who had, you know, well, best performance of what, I don't know how long, they together just flip all of that, and suddenly you have a superhero movie that's an in-depth character study that focuses on an individual who suffers from severe mental illness and anxiety, and who is a loner. And it's so brave of Warner Brothers, in my opinion, to even greenlight that project. You know, they took quite the gamble, and boy oh boy did it pay off. are you aware of the box office numbers on the game? Sorry, the game now I think of Tekken 7. We're gonna watch another match, but it's 15 times budget now. The budget was $55 million, and that is nothing compared to your typical superhero movie. Your average MCU movie is around $200 million. I know the Infinity War and Endgame was way more than that, like 300 million. And this is probably the most successful DC movie of all time, because there are movies that have made more money, like The Dark Knight made 1 billion exactly, I think, but it had a budget of 185 million. Joker is at $850 million at the box office after 4 weeks on a budget of $55 million. It's like 15 times budget. So this, of course, doesn't take in marketing, which is obviously the studios pay a lot of money for that. But still, you know, it is incredible numbers. And from what I understand, Warner Brothers have already greenlit Joker 2. And they would obviously be crazy, to pun intended, I guess, to not demand a sequel. Some people feel that a sequel can only ruin the legacy of the first movie, because it's such lightning in a bottle. Like, it's a one-off thing, masterpiece. Don't touch it, leave it alone, because you'll never be able to live up to that. The sequel will never be able to live up to that. But if it would do that, if it would do that, you would have something beautiful and maybe even something that would affect the MCU in that. Maybe we should go in that direction, because Warner Brothers are skipping the explosions. All of that stuff that is very costly and CGI, you know, all over the place, extremely expensive. You've seen the end credits of an MCU movie. As soon as it goes into special effects, you know, it's like an entire country is involved. Hence enormous budgets. But seeing Joker almost hit $1 billion with only $55 million budget, the DC universe might have something extremely potent here. So I wonder if MCU, if DC can recreate this, another movie that is as serious and does as well on a small budget, it might affect the MCU in that the MCU want to go in that direction as well. But we'll see what Disney does. I don't think... I mean, they are R-rated now. They bought 20th Century Fox, and that gave them the Deadpool property. So they own Deadpool now. I think, at least. Yeah, I think that's the way it is. But I wonder if they're going to try and make a Joker of their own, and what character they would pick. Because as we can see, you know, Joker's making a lot of money. Disney are going to want to get in on that. So I wonder if they're gonna follow suit. But obviously Warner Brothers will want to make a Joker too, and we know that there's a Batman standalone movie with Robert Pattinson, who is a great actor. Is probably gonna do a good job. I wonder if he's going to do like all of the characters, the actors who play superheroes, and beef up and maybe do a cycle or two. We'll see, I guess, but he's a great actor, and I'm thinking they're gonna go dark. But Jonah Hill is involved as the Penguin. He dropped out. Paul Dano is still cast, I think, as the Riddler. But how are you going to... this is the problem. How do you combine Batman, the Riddler, and Penguin with Arthur Fleck, Todd Phillips' Joker movie? Can you really blend those together? Because Joker, what we all like about it, I think, is that it's so ultra realistic. It's very plausible. And that's kind of a first with superhero movies. Even The Dark Knight looks very cartoony compared to Joker, in my opinion. And it's also laughable to look at the box office of Joker when looking at the political attacks it got prior to release from journalists and film critics, saying it would promote violence and it would glorify angry incels, you know, who live on the internet and who are very antisocial. This is gonna give them an excuse to take to arms, and it's like, this movie is extremely anti-violence. And of course, all that backfired. They tried to shit on the movie, like, don't watch this, it promotes violence. And then of course everyone goes to watch the movie. And it's always like that with the media. The more they shit on something, the more everyone wants to do the forbidden thing. I feel like that's almost one of the biggest reasons Donald Trump became president, is that the media said, don't vote for this guy, and then everyone says, haha, I am gonna vote for that guy. So yeah, I think it had the exact same effect here with Joker. But again, just an unbelievably well-made movie that I'm so happy to see that not only I enjoyed it, but a lot of people are enjoying it. It is quite the phenomenon. It is now at 4 weeks in, it's at 15 times budget. $55 million has now resulted in a $850 million, not profit, because you're going to have to do it minus budget, but an enormous profit for the studio, meaning we're going to get more of this. Great. Are they going to do another Dark Knight featuring Joaquin Phoenix Joker? Who knows? And how do you get that to work? considering Arthur Fleck, the Joker. But I'm really hoping they attempt it, because I'd love to see something like that. Because if they fail, okay, I'm going to try and have to see Joker as a standalone, and not see it as canon, what came after, if it's garbage. But if they are actually able to turn that into a universe in the same style as Joker, having a same style, you know, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and maybe some other villains, my god, that could be incredible. And just the sort of thing that cinema needs right now, because MCU is getting extremely stale. This is provocative and is actually pushing it in an entirely different direction. And finally, we had a superhero movie that felt very relatable. I got quite emotional watching Joker, and I'm pretty certain many of you felt the same. Whereas watching, you know, MCU, Captain America interact with his love interest that I know nothing about, or the Hulk and Thor, you know, exchanging witty one-liners while beating up CGI robots, I'm like, I couldn't be more uninterested. Or the yawn-inducing 40-minute end fight, where it's just spectacle for people who like that sort of thing. Or as Martin Scorsese put it, it's a theme park. I mean, agree or not with him, but after so many movies, isn't it fair to say that it's turning a little bit into a formulaic experience that is only there to dazzle with visuals? And that's where Joker dazzled with a screenplay and with a character-driven performance. Yeah, I myself prefer the latter. If it was oversaturated with character-driven movies, maybe we would love to see the theme park ride. I think it's just MCU has been too much of that thing. The first few movies were great, but then it repeats and repeats. But yeah, I just want to get out there that Joker's doing extremely well. I'm super happy. I hope we get more of those. And Joker 2 seems to be in the making. Joaquin Phoenix seems to have agreed to retake the role. Yeah, reprise the role. So good shit, super excited. Yeah, just wanted to do a video on this. So I hope you're all doing great. Cheers.